Yo. Got it. My Aussie, I am not, no. Nar. You gotta wake up at 4 a.m. It's alright. This stream will help you sleep. 4 a.m. You gotta get to bed. You're barely gonna get any rest. Have I seen Hot Fuzz? Yeah, Hot Fuzz is good. It's been a while. I've definitely seen Shaun of the Dead quite a bit more often than Hot Fuzz. I think I only saw Hot Fuzz maybe like once. Where am I from? I'm from Pennsylvania, United States of America. It's your birthday today. I'm at the bar with my hubby and I'm stopping by to say hello. Hello, Monica. Happy birthday. Be safe at the bar. Don't drink too hard. And try to stick to one drink. Except whenever you know for a fact they'll bring you shots, probably. Shots. Shots. But how are you guys doing? We are recording some stories. Oh yeah, I gotta get my Twitch chat over here, huh? Someone in my Twitch chat calls me a superhero. That is what I'm striving for. Hero status. Follow me Twitch, shameless plug down below. Alex J, welcome back for 35 months. Hello, Sir Joel, 35 months. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeedy, indeed. And you're about to have even more bonus content coming at you here. But how you guys doing? What's been happening since yesterday? L. Major L. Fry, can you thank you. Thank you, my friend. Guys, I appreciate you. But I would also appreciate no spam in the chat. How long have I been on YouTube? Since 2014, so 10 years. 10 and a half now. 10 and a half years almost. Love the podcast. Thank you, Gizzy Wizzy. Good to see you. Right now, we're just, for anybody new, we're just chilling till we let everybody start to stroll in a tad. And then we are going to be recording some stories. Lots of mistakes, lots of silly. And David De La Rosa, thank you for the 2, says, awesome tonight with Joel. Nice. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. Thank you for the 2. Always good to see you. Is spam musabi acceptable? Hey, as long as you can get it to my house and I can eat it, it is fine. Missed the old police stories you had up. Yeah, I wonder which ones those were. I don't even remember. LL. Interesting. Yeah, sorry, Arl. I don't know why you're spamming so much. But I gotta put you on a timeout. I guess some people just want attention real bad. Thanks for the 10 years of entertainment. You're welcome, Demi. Here's to 200 more. This is like being early for the preview of a movie. Almost never happens because of people. People. Are you at work? Any Bills fans? Yeah, did they beat the Ravens? They did. Oh wait, 27-19. Ooh, how much time's left? Oh, 2 minutes. Yeah, I don't think the Ravens can pull that out. Unless... No, they can't. Unless... Who has the ball? Oh, the Ravens have the ball with 2 minutes. Dude. Could have happened. Did you see the Eagles win today? Saquon Barkley putting up absolute numbers. Boy, I work myself a lot, and when you upload new podcasts, bro, it makes my day even better. I'm glad, man. I'm glad I can help you. Keep grinding. But also do be sure to take some time for your soul and work on things that bring you joy. You only get one life. As a Cowboy fan, F the Eagles, bro. I feel ya. I know the interdivisional rivalries are frustrating, but I don't know. I don't want the Chiefs to win. I'm fucking sick of the... I mean, granted, they're good. I'm not gonna lie, they're good, but I'm sick of the coddling of Mahomes just because one of his teammates is dating Taylor Swift. It's like, who gives a fucking shit? It's like anytime anybody like sneezes on Mahomes, they just like eject them from the game. They put him up to a wall and with a firing squad. I can't watch sports anymore. I was raised by sports fanatics, so it just doesn't do it for me. Well, that's fair, yeah, if you weren't into it, you know. Really no expectation, but that would be annoying if your family was like toxic about it. My company recently cut my sick hours from 80 to a max of 52. I feel like they hate us and want us to die working. Yeah, it's really strange. I think there would be some sort of lawsuit there, perhaps. I don't know. I think there would just be like mandatory amounts depending on the size of the company. As a male nurse, Joel, I'll use my favorite come on line for them. You sure got a pretty mouth. That is what I would always say to every one of my patients as I walked in. You sure are pretty. What's for Din Din? I just had burgers and cashews. Air fried the burgers and then cashews and then berries. It was good. Is this my full-time job? It is. Yepper. I'm a full-time you-pooper. We're the coolest people ever. Kept inside of our little content farm zones. Trail mix, yeah, literally. Company policy says we accrue sick time now. We are not allotted it anymore. For every week we work 30 hours or more, we get 1 hour sick time. That's weird. You can just change it like that. Joel washed it all down with a couple of gallons of that Rod Stewart special. True. I gargled that shit. Then we get screwed because they cut hours. Yeah. I don't even know what even is. Wart. What even is life, you know? I really am not surprised most people are just kind of like over whatever the fuck the American dream is, you know? Wasting one's soul in some sort of abstract corporate prison. No, that's not to say it's probably better than like a Chinese sweat factory or whatever. But at the same time, I think we might as well strive for better. Anyone see how many TikTokers are crawling back? Well, I heard that, TikTok is back up now again. That Trump said he was going to extend the ban or something like 60 days once he got in tomorrow, which was kind of confusing to me. And does that mean like is Meta, like is Zuckerberg gonna buy TikTok? I don't know. Just seems really odd. My American dream is to get a really big dog, like a huge dog. There's a lot of them out there. You can get a Saint Bernard. They're cute. They call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. Yeah, I don't know. It's good that people complain about America while living inside of it. I think that's one of the greatest signs of freedom, is to exist in like a state of ongoing decadence without even realizing it. By a Newfoundland. They're big. A wolfhound, yeah. They're definitely like a different kind of like texture for sure, but I'm sure you could find a wolfhound somewhere. What's up, AXG? What is TikTok? A metronome? It is, yeah. You find it within your timekeeping devices. The only bad thing about the only bad thing about doing the gaming streams is that since it gets less viewers, I worry that it kind of cuts into like how many people get notified. Oh, I forgot to put that on Instagram. I'm stupid. Damn it, man. I've made a grave mistake. There we go. It's up. It's done. It's made. Whatever. You just take 1 second of life at a time. It'll come as it does. What am I talking about? Who knows? These stories are going to be sick, though. These are from Sam Riding. The Lost Tapes, Volume 2, Cops. Filmed in front of a live studio audience. What's my Instagram? It is at letsread.official. I have chronic dry eyes and I use eye drops that cost €20 here, about 25 USD, but in the US they're literally $900. That's crazy. Wonder what that's all about, leading to the cost. Let's ask ChatGPT. Alright, we're gonna ask ChatGPT if they can explain the economics. Can you explain the economics of this statement? Alright, so in countries like the UK, healthcare costs are often regulated. Prescription drug prices are typically negotiated or set by government bodies like the NHS, which aims to ensure affordability for patients. For over-the-counter items, the market is less regulated but still influenced by broader price controls and competition. In contrast, the US has a market-driven pricing system for pharmaceuticals. Companies can set prices based on what the market will bear, leading to higher prices for many drugs. Factors include lack of price negotiation. Medicare, for instance, historically could not negotiate drug prices until recent legislative changes, and middlemen like pharmacy benefit managers. Out-of-pocket costs. Eye drops priced at 20 quid are likely priced for customers directly without insurance markups, and additional subsidies or prescriptions might reduce costs further for certain groups, i.e. seniors, children. In the US, the $900 figure often includes the inflated price a patient or insurer might be billed. Actual out-of-pocket costs depend on the individual's insurance plan. However, uninsured patients face the full retail price. Patent and exclusivity protections, demand elasticity, distribution, middlemen, international pricing strategies. Interesting. That's crazy. Rick Campbell with the big 20. Thank you, Rick. As you know, I love your live events the best. I often have to check out early, but I also want to donate to show my appreciation. Thank you, Rick. Very much appreciated. Hope you're doing well. What have you been up to? What are you excited about lately? Also, we're about to kick this off. Let's just get in there, shall we? Let's get to reading. Whenever the music, when it fades to the next screen, does the sound also fade, or is it like, it's kind of abrupt? Does it just like automatically cut out of nowhere? It really sucks ass, but if I don't take it 99% of the time I have a seizure. I've gotten so many stitches because of falling concussions. Damn, that's so tough. That sucks. Retro Duo, thank you for the 5, says, what is today's stories about? It's bonus content. But anytime I put like bonus content, sometimes people don't want to come in, so this is Cops, The Lost Tapes, tape number 2. I don't know if you remember the first one, but it's in the bonus content. So be sure to head over there and check it. You know, matter of fact, actually, matter of fact. Is it matter of fact? Matters of fact. Fact. Fact of the matter is, let's get 5 memberships out there. Welcome Christine, Evan, Code Fairy, Ghost Lee, and Nutella and Honey. Welcome friends. You now have access to bonus content. We're about to kick off some more here. Let's do it. Thank you, Word. Good to see you. Somewhere, amidst the library of lost tapes, the faceless man paces silently among the rows. He stops, surveying dozens of identical unlabeled VHS boxes. He then raises a hand and, with a slender, pallid finger, removes one of the boxes from its shelf. With a slow and measured stride, the faceless man then glides back towards the gray, featureless. Why don't you do gaming streams every Saturday? Well, it just depends on what I'm up to. A lot of it's just if I have the free time to, or I'm not like socializing elsewhere. I got plastic surgery on my voice box to sound like Joel. That's sick. That's why I sound like this. I had work done. If you could be any hero or villain, who would it be? Carnage. Carnage. No, I hope they add Carnage to Marvel Rivals. I also kind of am already hating that game a lot, like I hated Overwatch. There's just too much damn healing in that, and it requires way too much like team play to accomplish a task. With a slow and measured stride, the faceless man then glides back towards the gray, featureless room containing only a large vintage television set and a brown leather wingback chair. Containing only a large vintage television set and a brown leather wingback chair. He approaches the television set with its attached VHS player, and then with a satisfying snap, opens the VHS tape's black plastic case. He raises it to the mouth of the cassette player and pushes it inside. The VCR then emits a Damn, my brain is like kind of not there right now. Maybe I can change the font real quick. I don't know why, I just feel like weird. Like it's not flowing in my brain. It actually would be interesting to do like studies and come to find that like one particular font is actually easiest for people. Yeah, is there a wingback chair? Wingback chair. Oh, okay, yeah. Kind of like a lounging, creepy reader's chair. That's what I should be sitting in right now. But Lynn, thank you for the 2, says, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when the pretty poos? Bad kitty, bad kitty. As I say that, he's over there licking his crotch right now. I'm high on creatine, yeah. Catherine, thank you for the 3. Thank you. Alright. He approaches the television set with its attached VHS player, then, with a satisfying snap, opens the VHS tape's black plastic case. He raises it to the mouth of the cassette player and pushes it inside. The VCR then emits a soft hum of activity as it spools the cassette's tape. The faceless man then pushes a small black play button, and the old box television flashes into life. A series of bright white letters emerge from the void. A gravelly voice reads them aloud. Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised. The TV screen erupts into an action-packed montage of working police officers, scored by the staccato rhythms of the song Bad Boys by reggae band Inner Circle. "Cops is shot on location with the men and women of law enforcement," he says. "All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law," comes the voice of a stern and commanding narrator. Wait. "All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law," comes the voice of a stern and commanding narrator. The flashing cops logo fades into the back. Yeah. Chris, you like to watch those birds? Those birdie boobahs? They honestly, like, it's amazing to watch Saquon Barkley. He's just an absolute freak of a athlete. I mean, and it's so inspirational too if you think about it. Like, he got put on I'm not trying to shit on his old team too much, but to be put on the Giants behind a just not so good offensive line and just do next to absolutely nothing as a team for quite a few seasons, and what some would say would be a running back's prime, to then get traded because they don't want to pay a running back, which honestly, good for him, because now he gets to actually have a good time. And now he gets, I really do hope that the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I think that would be the most ideal situation there. What do I think about police in the US? It's just like, kind of like if you were to ask somebody, what do you think about doctors in the US, or what do you think about, at the end of the day, it's just a case-by-case basis with every individual. Obviously, some abuse the power, and obviously other ones are there to assist the public and do their job the best that they can, with good intentions. It's just sometimes we see the negative kind of brought to the forefront. Like this right here, there's millions and millions of tapes in this, like, library of tapes, right? But, this creepy guy with no face is grabbing another one to watch his favorite episode. Saquon was injured too much on the Giants. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, you do really wonder how effective he would have been if he had, like, a good team actually around him, one that could win. Because, you look at, like, the Eagles' defense is insane. The Eagles' passing game is nuts. Like, the receivers, the offensive line is crazy. Like, all Saquon needs, he's honestly, maybe that was, like, his training, was to learn how to run behind, like, one of the worst offensive lines ever. And then now he has, like, actually a very good one. And all he needs now is just, like, a sliver of space to, like, bust a big one. Bust a big nut run. As a Brit, I would be so wary of the US police, to be honest. Their training times are so short, and it's worrying. Well, that's the thing. That's the key word there, is as a Brit, right? You're not here, you don't interact with them, you don't know what it's like. In the same way that I'm sure there's a lot of, like, generalizations that you might experience from outsiders to your country that, you might find inaccurate. You know what I mean? And yeah, a lot of that defund stuff really didn't help to creating quality police officers, and made a lot of, like, policing in cities highly short-staffed. Kind of had the opposite effect in many ways. Saquon is exception athlete based on the injuries he had to endure. He's still playing like came out of college. Exactly. That's the weird thing to me, is that, and I honestly do think that, like, a lot of athletes are playing longer overall, they, obviously look at Tom Brady playing into his 40s and all that kind of shit. That's insane. But he is kind of a quarterback you weren't even allowed to, like, fart in the direction of. Oh, there's Sam himself. Guys, welcome the man of the hour here, the writer of these bonus content stories, Mr. Sam Riding. And be sure to subscribe to his Substack. The UK and USA police training is about the same, both about 20 weeks. Interesting. I'm sure it would have fluctuations as well, I would assume, or maybe there is just a standard. But no, yeah, being a public servant is it's an incredibly difficult job. I know cops, and I mean, the stories they tell, it's not fun. It's not like you look forward to going to a place and dealing with somebody who has mental health issues, who has a knife. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're like excited about the experience, and that kind of whatever ends up happening on the other end, it sticks with those people the same way that someone who goes through severe trauma as a child, sticks with them. John, you're the funniest chatter, honestly. The flashing cops logo fades into the black background before the screen displays a single police interceptor cruising down a lamplit suburban street in the dead of night. A caption reads, "State College, Pennsylvania," as the driver begins to speak. As you can probably tell by the name, this is a college town, the driver says, which has a big influence on the kind of work we do. Officer Jack Davies, his caption reads. There tends to be a lot of noise complaints, public intoxication, but most of the students here are good kids, he explains. We got a lot of small town charm, but then, when it comes to game day or St. Patty's, it feels more like a big city policing in that scenario, You got thousands of people flooding the streets, so things can get a little out of hand, Davies says, a wry smile on his face as his eyes remain fixed on the road ahead. It's about knowing when to talk someone down and when to step in to make an arrest. But at the end of the day, we're just here to make sure everyone has fun and gets home safe. Officer Davies continues to drive along deserted suburban streets before halting at a stop sign. I love the holidays, don't get me wrong, but there are times when we're on high alert for impaired drivers, he says. DUIs tend to spike during the season because folks don't think twice about having that extra drink at the holiday party before getting behind the wheel. And as Davies waits at the stop sign, an aspen green SUV pulls out in front of him from a side street. Would you look at that? Davies says. Someone's got themselves a busted taillight. He lowers his foot on the gas pedal and then switches on his red and blue patrol lights, yet mindful of the town's sleeping citizens, he keeps his sirens turned off. For around 50 yards or so, Officer Davies maintains a steady pace behind the 2002 Ford Explorer, until suddenly, his driver flicks on his right turn indicator and begins drifting to the side of the road. Officer Davies mirrors the driver's movements, maintaining a 10-foot gap between the car as he too pulls over and brings his vehicle to a slow and gradual stop. "You sure you want to record this?" Davies asks, turning in his seat to shoot the cameraman a smile. "A busted taillight seems like a waste of film to me. It could make for some good B-roll footage, though." Oh, that's what the cameraman says, my bad. Why are they not trained in law? I don't know. Yeah, to what extent? Let's ask the question. To what extent are police officers trained in law? Waste means poop. Poop has been spoken. Hell yeah. Police officers are typically trained in fundamental legal principles during their time at the police academy. Their training covers criminal law, constitutional law, local laws and ordinances, procedural law. In the U.S. Police Academy, training typically lasts between 13 and 19 weeks, but can extend up to 6 months. Only a portion of this time is dedicated to legal education, often around 40 to 80 hours. Practical application, continuing education, limitations of legal training, differences by jurisdiction. If you want better policing, you should be funding more training. I don't know. Is TikTok already banned there? It was yesterday, but then now I guess it's like back again because Trump was saying that he's trying to save TikTok or something like that. I have no fucking clue, honestly. And I don't really care. I think TikTok's, well, I guess I don't think TikTok's necessarily bad, even though I would say overall it's had a pretty net negative on most people's psyches with the short form content. But at the same time, I would say that's probably a very fun website. It's just that I don't use it. They don't care how educated you are. They want you to lick the boot. I mean, if you're a cop, you know, you're not, I mean, you would be licking your own boots in that scenario, unless if that's what you're referring to. Police should have fitness requirements. Do you agree? Don't they have fitness requirements? I know sometimes that like they have to make it through the original thing. Do police have fitness requirements? Yes, police officers typically have fitness requirements, but these can vary widely depending on the county, country, jurisdiction, and specific law enforcement agency. They do a 1.5-mile run, beep test, timed runs, standard test, push-ups, sit-ups, planks, deadlift, bench press, obstacle courses, vertical jump, Illinois agility test. Yeah, so I guess it just depends. I live in central New Jersey, and almost all of the police department near me required you to have a bachelor's in criminal justice, but I do know that officers in other towns don't need a degree. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of fluctuations. Twitch, question mark? Yeah, it's just another streaming website. People acting like the world was ending. Yeah, somebody was saying they lost all their friends, but I'm like, if you knew it was getting shut down, you think you would have transferred all your buddies to another, you know, social media thing. Hey, Knight Lewis, no worries. A cop in my hometown got so overweight, they just had him run the DARE program. That's, yeah, usually how it goes, right? I don't know. You know, I've had negative experiences with police, but I've also had really positive experiences too, but it really just, I would say, you know, the positive definitely outweighs the negative for sure. It could make some good B-roll footage. The cameraman says out of shot. Whatever you say. Davies replies, Archley? Archley? I've never heard of that adjective. Means an amused or mischievous way. It suggests that you know more about something than others. That's funny. That's very specific and perfect, actually. But how do you say it? Wait, no. Maybe I can find it on Forvo. Sorry. I was supposed to send you some music suggestions, but I forgot where you said to send it. Oh, you can send it over email if you want, or tag me in something if it's on social media, like Instagram, that is. Whatever. The TikTok gets banned, they already have a new one, the Red Note thingy. Yeah, it was weird though, because wasn't the like Red Note like, isn't there like a direct connection between Mao? Wasn't his, I'm gonna look it up. Is the Red Note a direct translation from Mao? The concept of the Red Note does not appear to be a direct translation from Mao Zedong's works or terminology, Mao's writings. However, it's possible the term might be a reference to a Maoist ideology read often. Oh, okay. It refers to his philosophy that may draw from concepts in his work such as the Little Red Book. Oh, okay. Which compiles Mao's revolutionary thoughts. Okay, there you go. It's okay. Guys, go join the communist app. We will wait for you to come back. Okay, archly. Whatever you say, Davies replies archly. Just be careful where you stand, and then we can go see what this fine citizen has to say for themselves. He unbuckles his seatbelt, opens his car door, and then steps out into the street. The cameraman follows, maintaining a short distance as they approach the stationary Explorer. As Officer Davies reaches the driver's door, the camera's microphone picks up the distinctive whir of its electric window being lowered. Oops. I kind of screamed that for some reason. Lowered! Catherine, thank you for the 2. What's up, Skittles? Oh, long time no see, I feel like. They have to have a bachelor's in criminal justice and are psychologically tested before they enter the academy. Yeah, I wonder where that's... Is that just in New Jersey still? Are you still talking about that? All I know is that if TikTok doesn't come back, I don't know how I'll ever go to the bathroom again, right? What are you supposed to stare at? You're going to have a moment of silence to yourself, and that just ain't right. As Officer Davies reaches the driver's door, the camera's microphone picks up the distinctive whir of its electric window being lowered. Good evening, sir. I'm Officer Davies with the State College Police Department, he says. The reason I pulled you over tonight is that your left tail light is out. You aware of that? The driver mumbles a sincere response, but the cameraman has yet to effectively position himself to hear it. A passing vehicle reminds him of Davies' warning, and for the time being, he stays out of the road and films only the officer, leaning down as he talks to a currently unseen driver. It's pretty common, but a fix is essential, especially... It's pretty common, but a fix is essential, especially if you're going to be driving at night, Davies explains. A busted taillight can make it harder for other drivers to see you, and you never know when someone might be following a little too closely, or might fail to notice you stopping. The Ford's driver... Oops. Damn. Ex-hamster for the bathroom. There you go. See, there's endless amounts of brain rot to pull from. There's a reason why a police officer will say, "Do you understand?" after reading your Miranda rights. I was explaining the reason, but I've forgotten. You know, I heard recently that there was some sort of like the Supreme Court ruled over the need for police to read your Miranda rights. Is that true? You know, why do I even ask? Let me just look it up. Does the police still have to read your Miranda rights? Am I streaming on Chatterbait? Hopefully soon. Hopefully they'll sign me to a multi-million-dollar contract for 292 people to come over. Miranda rights must be read when a person is in custody. The police intend to conduct a custodial interrogation. Recent legal developments, for example, in 2022, Vega versus Taco, the court ruled that a violation of Miranda rights does not automatically allow someone to sue the police under federal civil rights law. However, the rights themselves remain intact. Okay, well, that's good, I guess. In California and Missouri. If Joel used his cop voice on me, I won't fight back. Alright, get on the ground. We're gonna shoot you. The Ford's driver mumbles an apology in response. Hey, no need to apologize, sir, Davies says with a polite smile. But, just as a formality, can I please get your license and registration? He waits for a moment, reaches into the car window, and takes the concealed driver's paperwork. Thank you, sir, he says routinely, taking a momentary glance at the driver's Taking a momentary glance at the driver's ID. Alright, I'm gonna run a quick check on your license and registration. Only take a few minutes, so hang tight for me, alright? Officer Davies turns and then paces back towards his patrol car. As he reaches his vehicle, he takes a seat and then begins entering the driver's information into his computer. The hum of a single passing car fills the brief silence. Seems like the guy's just your average Joe, Davies says as he types. I can't imagine he'll have warrants or outstanding citations, but folks have a way of surprising you sometimes. Davies continues to type for a second longer. Then suddenly, his brow begins to furrow. Something's not right here, he says. The ID looks authentic, it just... some of these numbers aren't matching. The cameraman pans from Davies to the Ford Explorer ahead of them, and then zooms in through the rear window to get a shot of the waiting driver. Yet strangely, through the gap in the headrest, no figure can be seen. Officer? The cameraman asks. I can't see the driver. You can't? Davies asks, alert and at attention. Nah, the driver's seat looks empty, the cameraman responds. I think he's gone. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, Davies says irritably as he steps out of his vehicle with urgency. He skirts the stationary cameraman, who stands idle near the cruiser's fender, and then walks briskly towards the driver's side of the waiting Explorer. He peers through the window, pauses, then seems puzzled. Is there a problem, officer? The driver asks. Oh, the driver. Okay. Can you wish my daughter happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Gonna be a big day. Gonna be the best day. Gonna be the best day you ever had. Yeah. Alright, so he peers through the window, pause. Wait, so he skirts the station near the cruiser fender and walks briskly toward... Okay, so he's already up there. Can you do an Elvis Presley? Yeah, do the monkey. There's only two kinds of people who know how to do karate. That's Chinese people and the king. Look out now. Do you guys know what that's from? He peers through the window, pauses, and then seems puzzled. Is there a problem, officer? The driver asks. I'm sorry, sir, Davies says. I think there's been a little confusion. Let me go back and finish the check on the paperwork, all right? I apologize for the delay. As he speaks, the cameraman steps out into the now deserted highway, getting a clear shot of the Explorer's interior, but through his viewfinder, the driver's seat of the dated SUV appears empty. Davies walks back towards his cruiser. His cameraman meets him there. What's gotten into you, dude? Davies walks back towards his cruiser. His camera. How much snow did you get today? Yeah, it was a lot. Honestly, I've been like kind of oddly thankful for the snow. I mean, it is kind of a pain in the ass to drive in and all that kind of stuff, but there's something about it that's just like so peaceful and beautiful that I had otherwise not appreciated in previous years, because we really have not gotten a lot of snow, and this is like the most we've gotten in like quite some time. We fixed global warming in Pennsylvania. All you other bitch-ass states need to catch up. Come on. You're jealous I get snow? It's pretty cool. It's like a weird thing. It's just like, if you've ever walked outside at night in the snow, it may be like the most peaceful experience you will ever have walking. Because like the padding of the snow kind of creates like a muffled, like all the sound waves around you don't quite travel through the air quite as effectively, or they get muffled by the snow, and then you hear the crunching underneath your feet. and it's like slightly cold, but it's like oddly like you're surrounded by some sort of humidity blanket, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's nice. Obviously, if you're stuck in a blizzard, that's not ideal, but some of the more calming nights I've ever had is walking in the winter. You broke your hip walking? Oh, I'm sorry. That would suck. The YouTube channel GRD Animations has cloned your voices and uses the same sound between the stories you do. GRD Animations. Let's take a peek real quick. See, that to me is not nice. Cloning the voice. $58,000 subscribers. True Night Shift Horror Stories Animated. What are these? True horror stories? Here, listen to this.
Receipts and were expensive. I was terrified that he had found my address, so I showed my mom everything. My mom tried to return the gifts. I'm not sure why that was her reaction, but he refused.
That's definitely not a clone voice, but they've definitely...
Showing my mom the messages was the first time I had
I don't remember ever talking to these people saying they could take my voice, though.
Some were about
Isn't that weird, dude?
Me when I turned 16.
Is that not strange? Like, people just, like, literally steal shit from your channel and just make like, and they're not good animations. Like, presumably it's made in, like, a program.
My mom found out that he...
And, I mean, maybe it's not, or I'm sure there's some AI usage or whatever.
Went to high school with both of my older siblings. My sister recalled him as a weird anime nerd, and he was friendly towards my brother, also an anime nerd. I ended up blocking a few more accounts and tried to ignore...
Lawsuit, yeah. Let's go buy lawyers to deal with some silly guy. I don't know. I mean, I guess he does, like, link my podcast or whatever in the description and stuff. It's just annoying. I mean, maybe it's, who knows, maybe that is promotion in some weird roundabout way, but it's a little frustrating sometimes. Yeah, I would feel bad though. I don't recall GRD Animations. Like, how long have they been around? There's all these like random places. Where's their channel from? United States. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny in their description. Use of any content on this channel for any other projects is not allowed unless specifically given permission. But then they take other people's shit. That's so stupid. Solly, thank you for the 5. Says I like that guy. What's the channel? It's GRD Animations. Good riddance, Dingle Animations. Yeah, I do wonder if like there's any way to, because you know what YouTube does have is if your videos are being used in another channel, you can like do a copyright claim, so it does automatically split or send the money to you or whatever, AdSense wise, based on the views it gets. But I don't think it really does that with like audio, unless it's like music. And people's voices aren't really like logged into music, so I don't really know how you would really go about automatically just, I don't know. Anyways. Joelception. Davies walks back towards his cruiser. His cameraman meets him there. What's gotten into you, dude? Officer Davies asks with a hushed disdain. Guy's right here. He hasn't moved. I know. The cameraman replies, I know you see him, and I do too, but the camera doesn't. So what? It's probably just faulty. Davies hisses dismissively. It's not faulty, the cameraman snaps. It's just, you gotta see this for yourself, man. Look. Officer Davies eyes the cameraman with incredulity. Incredulity, right? Incredulity. Am I dumb? Incredulity. Look, Dad, I can read. I can read, Father. Make a copyright claim that probably get hit because YouTube doesn't care about creators, just ads. Yeah, how do you do that? I don't know. And actually the worst part is I'm like not really sure like if I've been reached out, because there's been so many animation channels in the past that have asked for permission, but I literally can't, like they all blend together and I can't. I mean, how long has this one been around again? March 2021. I guess that is 4 years almost. I have no idea. And their Instagram is like, who are they even following? Oh, you can't even see it. Whatever. Every time you yawn, Joel, a fairy dies. Night fairy. I yawn and I just start, if you yawn, it kind of like lures a fairy into your mouth and then you can chew on it. Mr. Ballin also has a lot of fake channels. He doesn't seem to care though. I guess it's just hard to keep up with, you know what I mean? Like how do you stay on top, all that kind of stuff? I don't know if you can hear Pradeep scratching around in his litter box. Oh, another fairy dead. That's how you know he made it. Yeah, I guess so. People start stealing your clothes. People start robbing you. Officer Davies eyes the cameraman with incredulity. Why is that? That's a weird word. Incredulity. Dude, he always takes so long in the shit box. It's funny, I don't ever really notice him shitting until like I'm midstream and I need him to not do that. Friend of a friend went through the same thing. His voice was used to train an AI for cooking vids. I don't know about now, but last year copyright didn't really help. Lawsuit could, but not sure if it's worth it. I mean, there's like a privacy complaint that you can do towards a channel and that kind of thing if someone steals your stuff with like AI. But like YouTube recently had a thing where it was like saying, do you want to like add your voice to like AI to be used in third-party services to like recognize your stuff or whatever? But I didn't know what that meant. And it had like all these different companies that could like create an AI clone of ourselves. And I'm just like, wait, and we're not getting paid for this? For them to like have all that data from our content to create clones? I don't know. It seemed, I'm not saying it was a scummy thing YouTube was trying to do. Maybe they were trying to create a system that's similar to copyright to protect us, but it didn't seem like it. And I'll have to like clarify, but it was very, very odd. I got a Twitch now too, I do, yep. I did just get offered affiliate today. I don't really know how that all works though. So yeah, every time, dude, he has like the same routine. He goes in there, scratches around, runs out, like does like a sprint lap around the room, and then goes back in. I don't know, someone was saying that sometimes they pee and then they go back in for another round of shitting. Which is like, come on, just piss and shit out of your penis like everybody else. This age of using AI to steal voices, faces, and art feels so dystopic. It really does. It's very odd. It's probably true because it's not copywritten, but I wonder if there's something written into the contract via YouTube. I don't know. It's a bit scary, you know what I mean? Have you seen the Elon Musk meltdown? No, what happened? I must know the newest drama. I don't know how the guy, like, has time for, like, weird, childish drama things. It's like if he's running all these businesses and whatnot, like, how does he even have time to care about, like, video games and all that kind of shit? And he's also in his 50s. I don't know. Maybe sometimes people's brains are just odd. I've been told that my voice would make a good Muppets voice. I don't know how to feel about that. Muppets are cool. Would you be Gonzo? I'm Gonzo. Hey, what's up? I'm a fucking Muppet. Hey. I'm gonna use a little puppet to, you know, lift up your skirt or something. I don't know. Officer Davies eyes the cameraman with Dude, I am stuck on this word. This is like incredulity. It's like being stuck in Mario on the same level. Officer Davies eyes the cameraman with incredulity, but nevertheless follows him into the center of the highway. When both men reach the appropriate angle, the cameraman points his lens towards the driver's window, once again displaying it as empty. Let me see that, Officer Davies says, stepping out of shot for a moment as he inspects the camera's viewfinder. There's a pause. Then, in a voice transformed with bewilderment, Davies speaks. What in the world? As the cameraman remains fixed on what appears to be a driverless Ford Explorer, there is another moment of bemused silence before the officer speaks again. This has to be a glitch, right? I mean, there's got to be something wrong with the camera. There's nothing wrong with the camera, its operator insists. It's been working fine all night. He might have some kind of ARD built into the window, like smart glass or something, but there's nothing wrong with my camera. Smart glass? Officer Davies repeats in disbelief. What the hell are you talking about? His window's down. He's just sitting right there. Yeah, I know. I can see that, the cameraman replies impatiently. It's just, I've never seen anything like this before. Well, that makes two of us, Davies says. He takes another look at the driver's license and registration, and then, after a brief moment of quiet contemplation, begins walking over to the Ford Explorer. Sir? Davies asks the driver. Can you think of any reason why the numbers on your paperwork don't match any in my database? The driver mumbles a vague response, and the officer's tone hardens a little. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the vehicle for me, he says, and the driver asks why. Because, like I said, your paperwork isn't checking out, so I want you to walk back to my car over here, sit you in the back seat, and then ask you a few questions about it so I can get back to your vehicle as quickly. Been listening and watching from St. Louis, Missouri, USA, probably over 3 years. I just wanted to say thanks so much for reading us. You're welcome. Good to see you. What's poppin'? Have you tried the bonus content? Oh, man. Have you ever thought about scary nursing home or juvenile detention facility stories? The nursing home ones would be very interesting, and I've definitely gotten stories like those. It'd be something to possibly dig into. Sir, are you a vampire? It's like, that's probably what's going to happen. That's what that is, right? Cameras can't see vampires, or is it ghosts? Is that a creepy chicken watching a crystal ball? It is. It is. A full-grown chicken. A man chicken. Because, like I said, your paperwork isn't checking out, so I'm going to walk you back to my car over here, sit you in the back seat, then ask you a few questions about it so I can get you back to your vehicle as quickly as possible. Alright? Thank you. Davies opens the driver's side door a little, repeating his request. All the cameraman can see is an empty driver's seat, but a second later, the door seems to take on a life all of its own and begins to open a little wider. Do you mind placing your hands on top of the vehicle for me, sir? Davies asks. I just gotta pat you down a little. The car door appears to slam on its own, and then after thanking the translucent driver for his cooperation, Officer Davies begins to search him. In the camera's viewfinder, the officer waves his hands in the rough outline of a human figure, as if performing some kind of elaborate mime. The cameraman zooms in, careful to capture the surreal exhibition in crystal clear detail. Okay, sir. If you could place your hands behind your back for me real quick. Am I under arrest, officer? The driver's voice is calm. Oh, it's calm. Am I under arrest, officer? The driver's voice is calm, almost monotone. No, sir, but you are being detained for both your safety and mine. Officer Davies replies. So, if you'd be so kind as to place your hands behind your back, we can get to the bottom of your ID problems as quickly as we can. I can't do that, officer, the driver says. Sir, please. Davies is polite, but stern. This will only take a couple of minutes. There's no need to make this any worse than it has to be. Just place your hands behind your back for me and... The officer's words are cut short. In the camera's viewfinder, his face contorts, flesh suddenly manipulated by a violent, imperceptible force. What are you doing? Wait. Okay, sorry. Nursing homes really do suck. Yeah, it's like aside from it just being like, let's think, what are all like the terrible things that happen in a nursing home? Bed sores, getting beat to death by Bertha, your family never visiting, ghosts, terrible food, herpes or something, I don't know. Shoving the food in your mouth. The Elon Musk crash out was about gaming, Path of Exile, he leaked his DMs. Yeah, I did see that. We were talking about that last time. It's just silly. Like, why? Like, what's the point of like pretending that you're good at a video game? Like, who gives a shit? Is it just to like solidify his position as like king of the nerds? Like, look, guys, I can launch rockets to the moon and be a complete never touch grass, no lifer on a fucking video game. Like, just seems odd. Anyone ever recognize me? Nah. The isolation wards. Hated dealing with isolation wards. Oh yeah, they do reek of urine all the time. I went to breakfast the other day with my mother. It was her B-day, and it was a diner with like old people, and I got the very familiar whiff that I had from working in nursing homes in the past and just in general of urine. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't think my mom pissed herself. I don't think I pissed myself. And then as soon as like this older couple like got out and slowly like waddled out, the wafting scent of piss went away, and I was like, oh, it was them. And you just feel bad, like someone's trying to enjoy their breakfast in the morning or whatever, and literally just like sitting in a pile of their own liquids. What are you doing? He growls, struggling. Get your fucking hands off me! The camera's angle suddenly changes as its operator rushes towards the police patrol car. He reaches for the radio inside, but maintains a shot of Officer Davies. Sir, stop! Fucking stop! He screams, his panic increasing with each passing moment as he wrestles with the unseen force. God damn it! How the fuck do you work this thing? Oh, that's the camera guy. God damn it! How do you fucking work this thing? The cameraman yelps. He keys the radio's handset, then, in a voice saturated with terror, begins pleading for assistance. The camera's viewfinder remains fixed on Officer Davies. His duty boots no longer touch the ground, his legs flailing as he is hoisted into the air. Davies struggles a little more, and then reaches for a service weapon. Yet no sooner do his fingers find the leather clasp of his holster, he unleashes one final ear-splitting shriek of agony before his face becomes an indistinguishable mess of brains, blood, and broken bone. Davies' sudden silence precedes a stomach-churning crunch as the great unseen force crushes his skull. The noise is so profane, so sickeningly foul, that the cameraman no longer pleads for help and instead unleashes a series of screaming sobs. Davies' limp body, now soaked in his own blood and brains, suddenly fails. Fuck. Fucking hell. I'm curious now, how many Midwesterners do we have? Oh. Isn't it interesting, like, wherever you're really born, you're probably just gonna stay there forever? Have you considered voice acting? I would love to, man. It'd be sick. I just don't know how to make it happen. You're a military brat. Yeah, what does that do to you, though? Does that make you kind of like want to keep on the move, or do you eventually find a place where you're like, I guess I'll just settle down here, I like it the most? Davies' limp body, now soaked in his own blood and brains, suddenly falls to the blacktop with a clatter and thud. Seconds later, the cameraman's screams increase in pitch and intensity. No, no, no! Please don't fucking kill me, please! He begs. I'm just a fucking cameraman, dude. I swear to God. You can just leave. You can get back in your car, just leave. I won't say shit. I swear to fucking Christ, I won't. The angle once again suddenly shifts as the cameraman slams his digital camera onto the roof of the police patrol car, abandoning it completely. It frames an almost perfect shot of him backing up as he is slowly and dreadfully approached by nothing and no one. Here, look! Take the camera, it's yours! It's yours! The cameraman I'm fucking begging you, man, please don't fucking kill me! You shouldn't have pulled me over, comes the calm, almost monotone reply. The cameraman continues to beg, but his pleas fall on deaf and unseen ears. He screams as he is suddenly thrown to the ground. He scrambles backwards, rolls over, but is caught by his pursuer as he tries to crawl. A few locks of his hair suddenly stand on end as he is face slammed into the asphalt. A few locks of his hair suddenly stand on end. Then, as his face slams into the asphalt, he cries of, damn it, I keep seeing shit that's not there. Crystal, thank you for the 1. Appreciate you. You just peed on your poop? Nice, dude. It's really the simple things in life, you know? A few locks of his hair suddenly stand on end. Then, as his face slams into the asphalt, his cries of terror begin to deaden and subside. His face hits the ground again, then again, then again, and again, until the dull thuds are slowly replaced by those of sharp, wet slaps. As a dead silence returns to the scene, the sound of footsteps precedes the sudden appearance of boot prints in the pool of Davy's blood. One appears in front of the other in slow succession, before a trail of bloody footprints trace a path towards the stationary Ford Explorer. Its driver's door seems to open on its own, the vehicle shifting slightly as something climbs back into its seat. It then closes again before its engine stutters into life. As the aspen green SUV drives off, its one functioning taillight fading into a distant red twinkle, the scene fades to the flashing COPS logo. A muted, instrumental version of Bad Boys plays for a few seconds before the logo fades and is replaced by the image of a police patrol car cruising down a charming suburban street at dusk. Dallas, Texas, the caption reads. As the shot cuts, alright, so that was part 1, this is part 2, and we're fading into the next. Brazil is amazing. I live in the north, so it's literally always hot. It's amazing. That's good, yeah. I'm glad you have somewhere that you consistently enjoy. I'm a secret agent. Secret agent man. Secret agent man. When the vampire comes for you. New Jersey is amazing? I don't believe you. About to put roller skates on your bookcase. Hell yeah, dude. That sounds fun. As the shot cuts to the interior of the moving patrol car, it displays a young but tired-looking officer wearing a department-issue baseball cap. A few days' worth of unshaven growth sprouts from his cheeks, chin, and neck, while dark crescents sag beneath his eyes. My wife and I had our first kid about 6 months ago, he says. So, trying to balance being a father and being a cop, it can be a lot sometimes. Officer Freddie Wilson, his caption reads. I try to leave for work at the door, or I try to leave work at the door whenever I got home, like I really got to change gears as soon as I walk through the door, he explains. It can feel real strange sometimes, coming home from a hard shift and then jumping straight into bottle feeding or bedtime stories, but at the end of the day, the reason I do this, I want to make the world a safer place, not just for my kid, but for every kid around here. As the officer speaks, he drives past mile upon mile of spacious single-family homes. Each house has a well-maintained front yard, some with blooming flower beds or neatly trimmed hedges, while the sidewalks are lined by mature oak and pecan trees. Streetlights flicker on, signaling the approaching sunset while casting a soft glow on the joggers and dog walkers who pass beneath. Officer Wilson continues to opine on the nuances of balancing fatherhood with law enforcement, until suddenly he's interrupted by an incoming radio transmission. Attention all units, be advised. A female voice drones through the static. We have a possible 1018 reported at 4527 Willow Creek Lane. Request available unit to respond. Wilson grabs his radio. Copy that, dispatch, he says. Unit 52 available, en route, ETA 5 minutes. 10-4, Unit 5. That sounded weird. Breaker. That's your address. I'm sorry. We're on our way to your house. I was wondering how you do handle narrating stories with more heavy topics. It's because I was listening to a story about Albert Fish you narrated. I was like, damn, this is tough. Yeah, I would say that one was probably the hardest I'd ever read, just because it involved like some of the most gruesome shit I've ever heard done to children. And I don't know, it's just like you get hit with a lot in your head all at one time of just like the surreal nature that is humans. And how some humans are just born different, you know? But I guess he was both born with a pre-established inclination to severe mental illness, but then on top of that, it sounded like he was pretty severely abused as well. So it was just like the perfect storm for making an absolute demon. Yeah, the letters were terrible. I'm not sure if all of the letters that he wrote were accurate to what he did, per se. And maybe he embellished some of them, but, I mean, even if I guess one of them was true, which I guess it was, it's just beyond fucked. Unit 10-4, Unit 5-2. The dispatcher replies, "We got a caller saying their neighbor's been piling up dead chickens in his backyard. Could be a possible 46. Proceed with caution and advise once on scene." Wilson places the radio's handset back into its cradle. Then, after scanning his surroundings, making a sharp right turn, he begins driving toward the call's location. As he drives, a question from his cameraman prompts a response. 46 means our suspect might be mentally unwell. Wilson chooses his words carefully. And obviously that can make for quite a volatile and an unpredictable situation. I mean, as far as I know, this individual's just slaughtering some poultry for a family cookout. But if not, well, they could be a challenge for us. The officer, Wilson, continues down a series of almost identical suburban streets, his eyes darting from the road to house numbers and back again. This is it, he says suddenly, before drifting over to the side of the road. He parks his cruiser and climbs out of the driver's seat, his cameraman close behind, and then as he walks up the driveway of the suspect's address, a cry of alarm catches him by surprise. "Officer!" The voice belongs to a woman, leaning from the second-floor window of a neighboring home. "Officer!" she yells, before pointing in the direction of the home's backyard. "He's back there! Hurry! The back gate is open, but you gotta hurry!" "What's going on back there?" Wilson bellows as he jogs. "What's going on back there?" Wilson bellows as he jogs towards the side of the house. "He's gonna kill her! Quick! He's gonna fucking kill her!" Wilson simply reacts, retrieving his sidearm from his holster as he rushes towards the side of the house. He pushes open the gate, pistol at the ready, then slows his pace a little as he crosses the threshold. Before him is a narrow walkway, the home's backyard lying just beyond. Wilson cannot see anyone, but he knows whoever is back there can hear him. "Dallas PD!" he barks as he advances down the passageway. "Put down any weapons you're carrying and put your hands in the air!" There comes no response from the backyard. The only voice belongs to the hysterical woman in the second-floor window. "Dallas PD!" Wilson repeats, rounding the corner and stepping out into the backyard. "Sir, put it down! Put it down or I'll shoot!" The cameraman follows him, rounding the corner to catch a scene of almost unimaginable horror. A young woman, stripped, bound, and gagged, lies prone on a lawn of patchy, yellowing grass. Manic terror causes her eyes to bulge from her tear-streaked face. A strip of gray duct tape muffles her screams. Towering over her is a hulking, shirtless brute, his stocky frame glistening with sweat under the harsh backyard lights. His arms are a patchwork of crude, jagged tattoos, a pelt of coarse, dark hair concealing those which cover his chest. His jean shorts, which hang low on his waist, are frayed and worn and stained. The black combat boots that he wears appear equally rotten. He gazes down at the woman with eyes devoid of humanity, so dark they appear as bottomless wells of pure hatred, and in his massive, calloused hands he grips an electric cut-off saw, its 14-inch blade glinting menacingly in the glare of the security lights.
"Sir, put it down now!"
Wilson screams, aiming his pistol towards the brute's chest. The brute raises his head and notices the officer. Then, after a wolfish grin, curls his lips, and he powers up the saw and brings it down hard upon the bound woman's neck. It whirs into life, a metallic screech filling the air in the moments before its razor-sharp circular blade begins slicing into the woman's neck at over 60 rotations per second. I was not ready for the 60 rotations per second. I didn't know that was an important detail, but you gotta know it. Is my room soundproofed? It is not. No, it's kind of echoey down here, to be honest with you. But the nice thing about the mic that I record into is that, maybe not so much the streaming one, but the mic that I record into kind of like, even whenever I peak the mic, it's not terrible, you know? And it still seems to kind of like work out okay, even with like dialogue. Joel, do you remember that guy, French Troops in Africa or something? I do, yeah. He was very concerned about... I mean, honestly, that isn't it kind of weird sometimes to think that, though? Like, if your group of people on social media start talking about, like, a social issue, you are likely to know, you're likely to know about it then. But if they don't, then you never know about it. You know what I mean? Like, we would never have known about, like, French troops being brought into, like, Africa. We don't know anything about Africa. Nobody ever talks about Africa. We've been talking about, like, Israel, Palestine. I mean, it makes sense to talk about it, but it's just interesting that, like, you know, it seems like nobody has, like, any desire to know anything about any other part of the world ever. Some people love spam in certain parts of the world. We just don't like it in chat. I've had spam before. I feel like I vaguely recall it being good on like sandwiches or some shit. French news covers Africa a lot. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I can only like really speak upon my very Americanized worldviews. It also kind of like blows my mind sometimes how much like American news and American culture is so like widely known by like people outside of the United States, or like certain movements that happen in the United States like immediately catch on in like other nations, and I'm just like, why are you interested in this at all? Brazil only talks about the US. Oh my god, I left to get away from it. Yeah, that'd be really annoying. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of like important shit occurring within Brazil. I mean, weren't you guys like surrounded by countries that were going through civil war and things like that? Greetings from San Pedro Sula, Honduras, the most dangerous city in the world. Yeah, what's going on there? I do remember at one point, like Baltimore and Maryland had more kills in like a weekend or something, or maybe it was the whole year, than like Honduras, which kind of like blew my mind. It's weird how a lot of valuable resources come from Africa, but the country is poor. This doesn't make sense to me. I mean, remember that one story we covered where the dude went there to like help protect against poachers, but then there may or may not have within that story have been like Chinese special forces operating within like the Congo or some shit to secure to almost assist the poachers or whatever. It was so weird, just like such a strange thing. I know that the Chinese are very heavily involved in securing many resources within Africa, or at least I've heard about it. I don't really know what's going on. They're special ed forces. They're going in. But sometimes they get turned around easy. It whirs into life, a metallic screech filling the air in the moments before its razor-sharp circular blade begins slicing into the woman's neck at over 60 rotations a second. As the blade meets flesh, the metallic whir deepens to a guttural growl, accompanied by a wet, visceral resistance. It shreds, tears, screeches, and sputters, cold mechanical efficiency becoming savage biological destruction, and the woman's eyes roll into their sockets as her body spasms, a shower of blood streaking her killer's face as he separates the woman's head from her body in a matter of mere moments. Officer Wilson opens fire, sending a torrent of well-aimed shots towards the great perspiring brute. But by the time the fatal bullet finally finds its mark, and Wilson's trigger squeezes are met with naught but hollow clicks, it is far, far too late. The brute slumps over, the gore-streaked saw coming to a rest between the woman's head and a stump which now gushes with her blood. The woman in the second-floor window is retreated into her home, but the camera's microphone still picks up her hysterical wailing. Wilson lowers his weapon, his face a mask of horrified disbelief as he reaches for his radio.
Dispatch, this is Unit 5-2. We got shots fired and a suspect down. Say again. Shots fired and a single suspect down.
Unit 5-2, copy that. The dispatcher replies. Stay on the line and advise if additional resources are needed. Over.
He just killed a woman with a saw.
That sounded really bad.
He just killed a woman with a saw.
Wilson continues.
Victim's head is... Oh God. We got one victim deceased. I need backup and EMS on my location. Suspect might still be alive. The scene's secure, but... Jesus Christ, he just cut her fucking head off.
I copy loud and clear, 5-2. Backup and EMS are en route to your location. The dispatcher says reassuringly. You're doing everything you can right now. Just take a deep breath. Stay with me. Can you confirm the scene is secure and there are no active threats?
Affirmative, dispatch. Suspect is down. And the victim is... She's... Wait a minute.
In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, the cameraman averted his viewfinder from the woman's headless corpse, and for the past few minutes has focused solely on Officer Wilson. Just as the officer's attention is drawn back to her corpse, the cameraman has little choice but to follow his gaze to the dry, dusty, and blood-splattered lawn, where the woman's body begins to twitch and spasm. At first, the movements are barely noticeable and appear to be nothing more than a few stray synapses firing in their death throes. But before long, it becomes evident that their intensity isn't failing. It is rising.
That's normal, right?
The cameraman asks, his eyes fixed in horror on his device's viewfinder.
You know, like a headless chicken. I don't know.
Wilson replies, a subtle terror creeping into his voice. The young woman's decapitated head remained still and motionless, but the spasms racking her torso and limbs become more and more pronounced with each passing moment.
You ever seen anything like that before?
The cameraman asks.
No,
comes Wilson's faint reply.
never.
Both men continue to stare with a profoundly morbid curiosity, watching as the young woman's body begins to buck and sway.
You think it's like gas escaping or something?
The cameraman asks.
No clue,
Wilson replies.
Maybe one of the EMTs knows what's up with her, but Jesus Christ, look at her.
At first, the movements seem desperate and whoops. Yeah, we got some Resident Evil. What's that game where they're zombies in space? Dead Space. Dying Space Light. I don't know much about Finland except it's very cold, very flat, and very Finnish. And Tolkien based his Elvish language somewhat on that. Oh, that's cool. He thought Elvish was based on Welsh. Interesting. What's up, Wesley? What's up, Lauren? At first, the movements seemed desperate and uncoordinated. Then gradually, the woman's arms begin to tense and flex against the bindings that restrain them. They contort and stretch, the sinews pulling taut before, suddenly, the restraints give way with a sharp snap. However, instead of returning to wild thrashing, her arms begin to move with an eerie precision, slow, fluid, and deliberate. The young woman's headless corpse rolls onto its side, pausing for only a moment before wrenching away the wire that binds its ankles. The two men watching stand frozen. Oh, you need real Japanese food outside of Japan, bruh. Do you like egg? I've been recognized IRL. I have not, no. Notice how we all become very religious at given situations.
Yeah, there's no atheists in a foxhole, I'll tell you that much. God damn it.
The two men watching stand frozen, their breaths caught in their throats, until slowly, the corpse starts to rise, limbs bracing as it pushes itself onto its feet.
What the fuck?
Wilson asks, terror and disbelief reducing his voice to a breathy whisper. His cameraman says nothing. He simply ensures every second of what unfolds is... His cameraman says nothing. He simply ensures every second of what unfolds is documented. As the woman's headless corpse finally manages to stand, it staggers for a moment, but then steadies itself. Then, with slow and careful steps, it begins walking toward the severed head as if guided by some unseen otherworldly force.
Ma'am?
Wilson's voice quivers as he speaks.
Can you hear me?
The walking cadaver does not react. It carries on pacing, stopping about a foot away from its own decapitated head, then leans down. When the corpse extends a single outstretched hand, there is no clumsy process of probing and searching. It simply reaches and finds. Then, clutching a fistful of her own hair, the woman's corpse rises upright, standing tall and unnervingly steady as it lifts the severed head with it.
Ma'am?
Wilson asks again, his voice now strained with rising panic. The woman raises the arm. How is everyone? We're doing good. How are you guys? How are you truly? Indian food blesses me with delicious diarrhea. I haven't had Indian food in a while. Wouldn't mind going to like a Indian buffet or something like that, or just getting like just a big, giant smorgasbord of slop. That sounds so good, with naan bread. You see too many reels of Indian food vendors mishandling food, using like the sharpest toenail on earth to just slice through human flesh. Biryani. Yeah, garlic naan is amazing. I think somebody has a copy account of you because I looked on this. Let's read an astronaut. Really? That's weird. Dude, everybody's just copping my style. The woman raises the arm that holds her own severed head, lifting it slowly until it extends outward at a right angle from her shoulder. Her forearm hangs limp beneath, the fingers still tangled in their hair atop her decapitated head.
Dispatch,
Wilson says into his radio.
This is Unit 552. We got a situation here. We need to get that back up here and fast.
Unit 52, provide your status, over.
The victim, the one that got her head cut off.
Wilson says, barely believing his own words.
She just stood up.
Unit 52, please repeat your last transmission. The dispatch says. I do not copy, over. As Wilson attempts to explain the situation, the cameraman fixes his viewfinder on the abomination which stands before them. Excuse me. She stood up, "Nya," and she said, "Nya, nya, nya, I want nyan bread."
Dispatch, I'm really horny.
Copy that, 5-2. Bring her on in. As Wilson attempts to explain the situation, the cameraman fixes his viewfinder on the abomination which stands before them. He zooms in on the woman's severed head, dangling by its hair, just in time to catch movement returning to her vacant, lifeless eyes.
Jesus fucking Christ,
he says.
Her face.
Wilson, who was talking into his radio, suddenly cuts himself off and begins addressing the headless woman again.
Ma'am?
Wilson asks, speaking loud and slow.
Can you hear me?
The woman's eyes roll wildly in their sockets, her jaw jerking upward and downward in a grotesque mechanical motion. For a brief moment, her lips pull back, exposing her teeth in a grimace that seems both painful and unnatural. Her face then contorts as though struggling to find some semblance of expression, the muscles twitching unnaturally as her features stretch and distort. Then, with a final shudder, her face settles into stillness, her large, dilated.
Did she break her jaw? I don't think so. Just her head is cut off, is all. No big deal.
Very fixable with duct tape. You just burped at the same time I did. Did I burp? Maybe that's from earlier. Wart. Go for a nice peanut butter and pickle sandwich with smear of Vegemite. Bro, you're You're prego as fuck. Joel, another reader, is dealing with this same algorithm and stuff here. He almost quit, so I told him he is not the only one dealing with this or AI stuff and should contact you for a collab. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can reference him too. What to do with the privacy stuff, but I can't guarantee that I'll do a collaboration or anything like that. We got a few really good ethnicity food spots here. Best fruit and authentic stuff to make your food. Lumpia is my kryptonite. What if you could actually eat real life kryptonite? Just to have that horror game app, I do not know. I never saw any money from that at all, sadly. I believe I'm trying to remember what the horror app was, but I got into it thinking that it was gonna like do well. Actually, which one was it? Because honestly, I'd feel bad if I'm about to like talk shit and I'm like completely talking about the wrong thing. I report the people copying you, and yeah, only listen to y'all stuff. Okay, cool. Oh, Shudder. No, not Shudder. It was like an actual game, like a choose your own adventure style game with like narration and stuff. What's there for good food in Pennsylvania nowadays, Joel? Because you only got shitty Chinese and Mexican or Italian and other Americans when I lived in Pennsylvania. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much that same kind of stuff everywhere you go. I mean, it just depends on where you go. Like some cities and towns and stuff are going to have a little bit more options for you. But honestly, don't sleep on the fucking Jesus, what are they called? Amish. Don't sleep on the Amish food. Like, I've gone to like Amish people have like a like they'll put on like a buffet or something trying to raise money through like a fire hall or something, the most random shit ever. And dude, their food is so good. I mean, I love all food, honestly, but yeah, that shit was just like all of it, especially the desserts, just complete absolute smoke, bro. Then, with a final shudder, her face settles into stillness, her large, dilated pupils locking onto Officer Wilson with an unsettling force.
Dispatch, where the fuck is medical? Over.
Wilson hisses into his radio. His eyes lock with those that bulge from the woman's severed head. She stares expressionless, and suddenly begins to whisper. Due to her recent decapitation, there's no breath to feed the woman's whisper. So instead of a soft, breathy sound, only the wet pops and clicks of her lips, tongue and teeth can be heard as she sounds out syllables the men cannot understand.
She's trying to talk.
The cameraman stammers.
I can't make out what you're saying, ma'am.
The Wilson.
Wilson! I can't make out what you're saying, ma'am.
Wilson says, slowly sounding out his words.
But we got medical just a few minutes out.
The eyes in the woman's severed head remain locked on Wilson, when suddenly, something begins to sprout from the stump of her neck. What appears to be some kind of vein or ligament begins pushing its way through the bloody meat, writhing and twitching as it extends. It is quickly joined by another, and then another, wriggling and probing like the antennae. Antennae? Antennae or antennae? Antennae? I don't know why. Antennae? Antennae. What? That doesn't sound right. Antennae. Oh. I swear I've seen it antennae before. Maybe I'm wrong. Antennae. Interesting. So two, like, plural insect antennae are called antennae. It is quickly joined by another, and then another, wriggling and probing like the antennae of some terrible bipedal insect.
Officer?
The cameraman says, his voice trembling.
I think we need to leave. Now. All right, I hear you.
Wilson replies anxiously.
Just start backing up towards the gate there. Nice and slow.
The cameraman is running on instinct and greed. He backs up slowly, but continues to maintain a steady shot of the monstrosity which stands just ahead of them. Wilson mirrors his movement, taking careful backward steps as he presses the magazine release button on his sidearm. As the empty magazine hits the ground, Wilson already has his hand on a fresh one. He brings it up to the pistol's mag well, snaps it inside, and then releases the pistol slide.
Ma'am, if you can hear me...
Wilson begins. The cameraman cuts him off.
She can't fucking hear you, dude. Where are you gonna get that through your head?
He snaps.
I don't, but why is she...
Wilson stutters, his sanity beginning to slip.
Just get ready to shoot her!
The cameraman hisses. Fuck.
Just get ready to shoot her!
The cameraman hisses.
What? Are you crazy?
Wilson retorts angrily.
I can't just... Get ready to fucking shoot her!
The cameraman growls, the shot wobbling a little as he speaks. In one corner of the shot, Wilson's face is pale and clammy. He raises his pistol in utter disbelief and then points it towards the headless woman. The veins that sprouted from her neck now writhe and coil in the air, twisting like a nest of blood-red serpents. They rise, undulate, and flatten, their shapes flowing and bending with unnatural precision. Slowly, they intertwine, forming an eerie, incomprehensible symbol, its edges sharp and angular, pulsating with a terrifying eldritch energy that seems to defy all understanding. As the bloody tendrils cease to move, there is a moment of silence. Wilson and the cameraman continue to step backwards, their gaze held hostage by the incomprehensible sight before them. Then suddenly, the woman's eyes begin to smolder with a dull but unmistakable glow. At first, the light in her eyes is faint and hazy like a cat in distant headlights, but like flames catching wind, they quickly begin to flicker and blaze. Before long, the woman's eyes burn like a raging inferno, its light shining bright as her horrifying gaze remains locked on Officer Wilson.
Where the fuck is that backup, man?
His cameraman desperately inquires, but Wilson cannot hear him. In the midst of the cameraman's panicked exclamation, he turns his viewfinder toward the officer. The light is no longer just in the woman's eyes. It now flickers fiercely in Wilson's. Officer Wilson stands motionless, his mouth agape as the same orange fire sets his eyes aglow. And then suddenly, he begins to tremble. The flesh of his face begins to swell slightly as steam trapped under bone and flesh seek an escape. The camera's microphone picks up a faint hiss as thin streams of vapor begin to rise from Wilson's nose and ears. His glowing eyes bulge unnaturally in their sockets, his fragile corneas growing cloudy as his skin darkens and becomes tight. As light begins streaming out of Wilson's eyes and mouth, his taut flesh begins to blister and crack, revealing raw, shimmering tissue. A muted pop is heard. Wilson's head jerks a little, then finally, strained beyond limit, his skull gives way with a sharp crack, releasing a jet of steam. Damn. True crime? No, false crime. Quite literally. Quite widowy. That's what we a false crime story. Here you go. Enjoy it. Oh, whoa, we forgot to check. We actually have people writing in the Twitch chat. I've never heard the phrase Eldritch energy in my existence. Nice. Yeah, it's like Eldritch. Like Wait, did I say it wrong? Eldritch, which is like Cthulhu style stuff. You know, this is like Cthulhu inspired. Welcome, it's peanut butter jelly time. Eric Sayers, Mew Lover, 24, Sneaky Pots, and Azzy to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Eldritch. He wanted to get him affiliated and going bigger. If people catch on, he would succeed majorly. Well, I appreciate that, Cheeky. Thank you. I would like to... I mean, do you have to be affiliated really to like really catch on, or is it kind of just... Could I still get decent viewers? What is the viewer count at right now? It seems Twitch's response time is like way faster too compared to YouTube, which is a bit odd. What does he say? Mischievous dog. You have to maintain hours to viewers. Okay. Thank you, Bloodhaze. Appreciate you. I'm looking back and forth. Who do I look at? Those guys? You guys? Those guys? You guys? A muted pop is heard. Wilson's head jerks a little, then finally strained beyond limit, his skull gives way with a sharp crack, releasing a jet of steam and a thick, bubbling mass of poached brains. As Wilson's smoking corpse collapses to the floor, the air remains thick with the stench of charred meat as the cameraman returns his viewfinder to the headless woman. She slowly turns her severed head towards the cameraman, her eyes ablaze while her lips curl in a sickening imitation of a smile. The cameraman's breath catches in his throat, his eyes widening in terror as he lets out a panicked scream and turns to flee. For a few moments, the camera swings wildly, the footage of a chaotic blur of frantic motion and distorted crap, I gotta spray my throat. That shit's good. The first time I was introduced to you when you did a voiceover for Mort, I was happy that I was able to find your channel, and now I love listening to your stories. Oh, thank you. Well, maybe we shouldn't bother that GRD guy or whatever, because Mort was an animation channel. Perhaps they will find me as well. But talk about an amazing way to make money on YouTube. Just use other people's narrations and make silly little animations for him. Mr. Garrison, yeah, he's such a good character. Okay, the cameraman stands for... Oh, yeah. You were live last night. I fell asleep early, but I thought I saw the notification. I was playing video games. Playing the Little Nightmares. Honestly, maybe at this point, if I do play Little Nightmares on the next one, I'll finish part 3, and then if there's DLC for Little Nightmares 2, I'll play that DLC as well. And yes, I am on the Fent. That Fent cart. The cameraman stands frozen for a moment, the camera dangling from his limp hands before it slips free and crashes to the floor with a sharp crack. The cameraman himself then drops to the ground with a thickening thud. His head, now a blackened stump, smolders where it once was, his body twitching in a final grotesque spasm, as if even in death, the fire in his skull still burns. As the picture fades to black, the flashing cops logo reappears, accompanied by the now familiar rhythm of Bad Boys. When it fades, it's replaced by the image of a police pursuit vehicle driving down a gloomy stretch of highway lined by battered-looking cabbage palms. Cabbage palms? Like palm trees? Oh yes, we're in Florida. Looks like we're in Florida, boys. Thanks, Wade. I used to work with a guy at my old job named Wade. He was quite tall. It's always interesting remembering your coworkers, you know? Just like other people that you probably weren't like the greatest fans of, but you became sort of close through just like repetition, you know what I mean? Kind of like growing up around kids in elementary school and stuff. When you're young, you know, you're not friends with the kids, but you're just around them your entire like youth life, and then you just remember them even though you never like really became tight, but you're just, it sort of brings a certain sense of joy in the fact that they were there. Work trauma bonding. I could really use that honestly in my life right now. Like I don't know. YouTube is a huge blessing, but I just like, I don't know. Sometimes I go out, you know, places, a grocery store, and I'm just like, who are these people? Are they my friends? Maybe one of them is a subscriber. They're not. And then they kick me out of the store for being too close. You guys believe in soulmates? Yeah, I believe so freaking hard. Alexander Customs, welcome to the Buttersaw Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, my friend. In Judaism, it is believed that everyone has several soulmates. That's how you get to like just bang anybody you want. Several soulmates a night. We have a very special parasocial relationship. Thank you. Missed you lots. Sorry for not popping your ear off. No worries. We're just cruising on ahead. You should try reading a grocery list in a store. Just sitting there reading it over the announcements. Attention all shoppers. When it fades, it is replaced by the image of a police pursuit vehicle driving down a gloomy stretch of highway lined by battered-looking cabbage palms. I believe in mating with all the souls in this chat. Yeah, everybody gets to mate. Big matey energy. Did you ever get lost in a store? What was it? Yesterday I was hiking. Yesterday I was hiking and I briefly got the sensation that I was like lost in the woods. Because I took like kind of a weird path. And, you know, in your mind's eye, you tend to sort of orient yourself based on like where you previously walked, right? And it's usually pretty easy. And it's just like, it's something that is so consistent in your subconscious as you're walking that you don't even realize that you're like, it's actually an active part of your brain, like keeping track of where you are in spatial reality to where you want to go, you know what I mean? But then for some reason, like during the walk, I all of a sudden was like, wait, where am I? Or like, where is this? And then suddenly like the direction that I thought was walking, it was like, just imagine like a compass in your head just starts like spinning, but you're just like clueless as to whether that direction's that way, or that you know what I mean? And it was like all directions were equal options of where to go. And I was just like completely fucking brief. Like it was only like a few seconds, but it was like this just like terrifying thought of like, I'm lost. And thankfully I was not. Alexander Customs, thank you for the 5 gifters. To Bailey Grace, Andrew Edmonds, Enchanted E-Boy, Justin Parrish, and Bill Wambolt. Welcome, friends. Call the wambulance, because now you have access to bonus content. You met your soulmate at 14, been together each other's lives since. It's definitely forever. That's pretty cool. I remember there was like some people I knew who like literally dated since like 8th grade. Like they were dating since 8th grade and they're married and still together now. And I'm just like, damn, dude. That seems like, I don't know, just like the most ideal thing ever. Like you just like always had someone forever. I hate when I'm driving and my brain tricks me into thinking I'm going the opposite direction. I don't know if that's ever happened to me, but I feel like I can kind of understand what you mean. Because presumably the roads, you hopefully chose the right direction. But I can imagine if you're, not familiar with it. But when it fades, it's replaced by the image of a police pursuit vehicle driving down a gloomy stretch of highway lined by battered-looking cabbage palms. Crescent Beach, Florida, the caption reads. The shot transitions to the interior of the police pursuit vehicle and shows a broad-shouldered trooper of Latino extraction, his eyes fixed on the windswept highway. I know a lot of people to run for a bunch of different reasons, he says, be it panic, fear of consequences, or genuine belief that they can just outrun the police. But in my 6 years as a state trooper, not a single one of them has gotten away. Trooper Darwin Diaz, the caption reads. Sometimes they're hiding something in their car, either drugs, stolen property. Other people are dealing with the psychological issues and becoming agitated if they're approached by police officers. It's just frustrating because, especially with the second group there, it's initiating a high-speed pursuit only ever makes things worse for them. And they put themselves at risk. They put officers at risk, and they put other drivers at risk too, so our goal is to end HSPs as quickly and safely as possible, which is where me and my fellow troopers come in. As Trooper Diaz explains the finer details of his job, he drives under a pale gray sky tinged with faint streaks of bronze as sunlight fights to pierce through lingering storm clouds. Fallen trees lie sprawled across the road's shoulders, their roots jutting out like the skeletal hands of slain giants. Splintered wood, mangled road signs, and torn shingles lie scattered across the highway, forcing Diaz, Deathica with the 10. This is live stream lurker, first time caller here, avid Mr. B and redacted listener. Super excited you might join the roster. Love your voice, outlook, and hot takes on politics, society, law. Keep us great work. Thank you, Deathica. That would, oh yeah, dude, I hope so too. I really do hope it works out. Obviously, no pressure on either side, but yeah, dude, that would be so sick, and I would be honestly very, very honored, and do my best to make it literally the best possible product ever. So, thank you so much, Deathica. You've got good taste. Hanging out with my Nephilim, sane. Redacted is great. Yeah, you guys should go subscribe to Redacted. Check out that new podcast. Quick question, yeah. Ask any questions you want. We also have cult stories coming up here soon. What's the story about the Russian puppet in the attic? I don't know. It's been a long time. But it talks like this, or something. I don't know, probably. I only do one Russian accent. Can't believe it. It blew my mind. I'm evil. I'm scary. Yes. Hardest thing ever was still messed up so bad my twins lost their dad. Oh, I'm sorry. Toilet stories? Skibbity toilet stories? Splintered wood, mangled road signs, and torn shingles lie scattered across the highway, forcing Diaz to weave cautiously around patches of debris. While snapped power lines lie in pools of stagnant water, their sparks flickering ominously as the pursuit vehicle passes. Swamped ditches brim with murky water. Swamped ditches brim with murky water. Okay, sorry. Sound like Nico's cousin. Hey, Nico! Are you gonna come bowling with me? Come on! Come on! You take the money. Splintered wood, mangled road signs. Sorry. Swamped ditches brim with murky water, the normally lush greenery having taken on an ugly palette of rotten browns and dead grays, while the usual hum of highway life has been replaced by an eerie stillness. Diaz continues to talk, and then suddenly he is silenced by the buzzing of his vehicle's radio. "Attention all units," the robotic voice drones through the static. "APB issued for a suspect fleeing southbound on US Highway 17 near Crescent City. Vehicle is described as a black Ford F-150, late model, with dark tinted windows and no visible license plate. All units in the vicinity proceed with Code 3 response. Over." "Dispatch, this is Unit 324, Diaz reply." "Dispatch, this is Unit 324. Diaz replies calmly. "I'm 10-8 and en route to intercept the suspect vehicle southbound on US 17. I'm monitoring for any updates and advise on visual contact. I'll monitor for updates and advise on visual contact. Running Code 3. Over." "Roger that, 324, but be advised," the dispatcher says. "One FHP pursuit vehicle has already crashed in the vicinity while engaging the suspect. No serious injuries reported, but proceed with extreme caution. Maintain safety protocol and update your status. Over." "Copy that, dispatch. Proceeding with maximum caution," Diaz replies. "Will advise on any developments. Over." After placing his radio's handset back into its cradle, Trooper Diaz slams his foot onto the accelerator. The engine of his pursuit vehicle roars to life as he flicks on his lights and sirens, tires gripping wet asphalt as he hurtles down the highway at breakneck speeds. Holding his steering wheel in his white-knuckle grip, Diaz scans the way ahead for any sign of the suspect vehicle. He weaves between traffic with an almost effortless precision, the road ahead becoming a blur as he pushes his interceptor toward triple-digit speeds. His focus sharpens, instincts take over, and though the radio crackles with the voices of his fellow troopers, Diaz is alone in the hunt. After another few miles, Diaz spots something moving up ahead. A dark shape cuts through the haze of rain and headlights. He shifts into overdrive, one hand tightening on the wheel as the other reaches for his radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 324, God damn it. Dispatch, this is Unit 324, he says with urgency. "I spotted the suspect vehicle black Ford F-150 southbound on US 17 near mile marker 245. I'm initiating pursuit. Speeds approximating 90 miles per hour. Over." "Copy that, 324. Pursuit is confirmed," comes the reply. "All units in the area be advised. Proceed with caution. Keep us updated on your location. Status 324. Over." As Diaz rapidly pursues the black truck, fat midsummer raindrops begin to pitter-patter against his windshield, and before long, the blacktop is treacherously slick. Shit. Balls. Slick as balls. Oiled up, greased up. Joel is number one by far. Mr. Ballin is cute and interesting, but Joel is the best when it comes to narration. I would call Ballin more of a storyteller. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have two very definitive presentation styles. I've always been curious, honestly, how he does it, to be honest with you. Like, if it's, he sits there and he talks really interestingly, and when he comes up, you're going to want to drink from this flask. But the flask has got Crown Royale in it. But the Crown Royale reminds you of a purple flavor that you had when you were 17 when you blacked out. And when you blacked out, you projectile vomited all over your could-have-been girlfriend, but you kind of blew that situation. So now you're kind of screwed because you're about to throw up again. You know, it's like, does he do it sort of on the fly? Are there like bullet points, or is it all written out and then he kind of like plays into that voice while reading it verbatim? You know what I mean? Heard of baklava cheesecake? Yeah, it's very good. He's definitely bringing up a prompt watching his old, as you can see his development. That's cool. Yeah, Mr. Ballin for the morning. Let's read at night, baby. As Diaz rapidly pursues the black truck, fat midsummer raindrops begin to pitter-patter against his windscreen, and before long, the black top is treacherously slick. His cruiser growls as he holds its wheel in a death grip. Tires screech as both vehicles drift dangerously close to the shoulder where fallen branches and chunks of asphalt lie hidden in the gloom. Diaz's headlights barely cut through the sheets of rain, while the roar of the wind drowns out everything except the roars of his vehicle's engine. Every second feels like a gamble, but he holds fast. Suddenly, Diaz and his cameraman noticed a wall of fog on the horizon rising from out of nowhere to swallow up the highway. It appears ominously dense, devouring all it touches in an instant and reducing visibility to nothing but a few feet of hazy, shifting gray. Ahead of him, Diaz watches as the black Ford drives straight into the wall of mist, and with no choice but to follow, the trooper valiantly maintains the pursuit. He powers through the mist, his headlights cutting a narrow path through the ghostly... Dude, I feel like if you're in a high-speed chase going like 90 miles per hour, would you drive into like a thick Stephen King mist? I, for one, think not. Oh my god, dude, yeah, Mr. Ballin should sell flannels. That would actually be so sick. Start his own flannel line. Has he done that already? He has to. I feel like that has to have crossed his mind at one point. He does. Okay, nice. That's smart. The same red flannel shirt. I don't think he wears the same red flannel shirt, does he? I thought he wears like different types of flannels. Like all sorts of variations. Have you guys watched the Y-Files? I forget what the guy's name is on the Y-Files, but he's got like a goldfish that talks. It's like honestly such a cool like production, because it's like he covers all these like pretty interesting conspiracy style like weird ideas, but like in depth, and does it very well. But in like such a presentation that it makes you like, it's such a seamless and fun presentation that it makes you feel like you're watching the old Bill Nye stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, Hecklefish, that's AJ and Hecklefish, yeah. Dude, that shit's good, man. Like the one episode it was talking about like time travel, and the guy like talking about the exact like mechanisms he uses for time travel. It felt believable, honestly. The time travel discovered within CERN. Vsauce here. He powers through the mist, his headlights cutting a narrow path through the ghostly curtain as the road beneath him seems to vanish completely. Only the dim outline of the black Ford is visible, disappearing and reappearing in the fog like some great dark phantom. Trooper Diaz guides the cruiser through the thickening mist, the air growing colder and heavier with each passing second. The headlights barely make a dent in the dense fog, their beams swallowed up by the inky darkness ahead. The world outside the pursuit vehicle window seems to blur and warp, shadows forming as the white lines ahead of him vanish into the void. The black Ford remains dead ahead, a faint outline in the haze, yet it too is beginning to fade in the increasingly oppressive darkness. Diaz stares intently through the windshield, his eyes straining to keep from crashing or losing control, but it is an exercise in futility. Suddenly, the black Ford seems to disappear, its taillights vanishing into the dense fog ahead. And then, without warning, oh, my voice is starting to crickety-crack.
Dear Captain Jack Sparrow. And suddenly, the black Ford seems to disappear, and the taillights vanishing into the dense fog ahead. And then, without warning, the ground beneath the pursuit vehicle seems to give way, and time seems to stretch in the moments the vehicle is in free fall, headlights casting in erratic shadows in dark sky, and its occupants shriek of terror.
Fascinated by black holes doesn't sound right, but I'm serious. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, aren't black holes still just like theoretical? But I have heard at like CERN that they use many like little black holes to create the time machines and that kind of thing, which I don't even know. Like, what am I even... I was just about to sit there and say like it sounds cool, but honestly, who even fucking knows? You don't believe any of that crap? Well, what do you believe in? Finally found my TV remote 10 months after losing it and buying 2 more. Damn. You know, I don't think it's ADHD. I think there are little gnome people that live in your couch. They got a whole society down there, and they're doing this to spite you. Because you squish their entire village every time you sit down. And they're like, fuck, I'm gonna get a remote. I'm gonna steal that fucking remote. She worships a bit. She loves that remote. The borrowers. Yeah. Suddenly, the black Ford seems to disappear, its taillights vanishing into the dense fog ahead. And then, without warning, the ground beneath the pursuit vehicle seems to give way. Time seems to stretch during the moments the vehicle is in free fall, headlights casting erratic shadows against the dark sky as its occupants shriek in terror. Seconds later, the truck crashes down with a violent thud, landing with a sickening jolt as it slams into a muddy ditch. The rear end dips first, sending a wave of muck and debris splashing up as the vehicle comes to a halt, its steel frame groaning from the impact. Fog swirls around the mud-splattered truck, the eerie sky above still bruised and dark. The only sound now is the faint hiss of steam rising from the engine and the distant rumble of the storm as the chase comes to an abrupt and unsettling end. Diaz's hands are shaking as he looks towards his cameraman, his voice rough but steady.
Hey, are you good?
He asks, his eyes scanning for any sign of injury.
I think I'm okay.
The cameraman replies in a state of shock. Diaz slams the car into drive and guns the engine. It unleashed a wounded roar, but the car stays stuck, its wheels digging deeper as they spin fruitlessly in the muck.
Come on! Come on!
Diaz growls as he tries again, his foot pressing harder on the gas, but it's no use. The pursuit vehicle is stuck. Diaz reaches for his radio.
Dispatch, this is Unit 324. he says warily. My vehicle has crashed. I'm out of the pursuit. I'm past mile marker 245, requesting medical assistance in my location. Over. There's a pause. The usual static crackling through the air, but no response comes. And Diaz tries again, his voice tinged with urgency. Dispatch, this is Unit 324. Do you copy? I need medical assistance. Over. The radio crackles again, but this time, there's nothing but a hollow, eerie silence. Diaz grips the radio tightly, his heart pounding, frustration and fear creeping into his voice. Dispatch! Damn it! Come on, I need help! He pleads. Do you read me? Over! The silence stretches on, cold and unyielding, leaving Diaz alone in the deadened air. With a frustrated grunt. Hey! Thoughts in mind. Thank you for the 5 gifters too. Shelby, Angela, Vita, Jeep, Tracy Bean, and Slumpy McNods. Thank you, my friend. You all have access to bonus content now. Thank you so much. Planning on stream part 3 of Little Nightmares DLC. I don't know. I guess I don't really have a plan, but it's definitely going to be the next time I stream for show. We'll finish that out and see the scary lady. Whatever she has planned to do to me, I don't know. Let's see how many we got going on over on Twitch. Just out of curiosity. 4 people. Hell yeah, it's a new record. It is oddly louder over there for some reason. I don't quite understand why. With a frustrated grunt, Trooper Diaz shifts the car into park. He then swings open the door and steps out into the mud. His boots sink with heavy squelches before he turns to survey the damage. The vehicle's wheels are buried deep. Its front bumper is scratched and dented, while the undercarriage is caked in mud. Diaz takes a few careful steps towards the vehicle's fender, and then kneels beside the tires for closer inspection. After a shake of his head, he rises to his feet, wipes his hands on his pants, and then takes a breath to steady himself. It doesn't look like we're getting out of here without a tow truck, he says to the cameraman. I'm going to go ahead up to this bankment here, see if there's a gas station around. You're welcome to join me. The cameraman accepts the invitation, twinges of pain eliciting muted grunts as he climbs out of the pursuit vehicle. Then together, the 2 men scramble up the muddy incline of the ditch, their boots slipping as they push against the slick, stinking mire. Diaz reaches the top first, pulling himself over the lip with a grunt. He then turns to the cameraman with an outstretched hand and grabs his sleeve to drag him up. As both men stand at the top of the ditch, they pause to survey the surrounding landscape, but the sight that greets them is far from familiar. Instead of the flat, tree-lined highway, they find themselves standing on the edge of a vast, barren wasteland. The ground before them is endless mud, stretching out endlessly in every direction. There's no sign of the road that they were just on, just an open, desolate expanse with not a single tree or structure to break the view. The air feels heavier, mist swirling into fine tendrils that seem to wrap and distort, blurring the horizon into an indistinguishable line of earth and sky. The only sounds are the faint rustle of wind and a distant unsettling hum, which seems to get louder and louder with each passing second. Where the fuck are we? Diaz mutters to himself. The cameraman offers no response. He stands stupefied and open-mouthed, his warm breath visible in the cool, damp air. And suddenly, through the swirling mist,
Dark shapes begin to emerge, vague and indistinct, becoming clearer as they draw closer. Silent figures draped in long black robes trudge slowly through the mire, their hoods pulled low, obscuring their faces in the shadow. Each figure steps in unison, their movements slow but deliberate, as if part of some ancient ritualistic procession. Their hoods are tall and pointed, the fabric dark against the pale mist, while thin, intricate symbols, barely visible in the dim light, are embroidered along the hems. The edges of their robes are tattered and frayed, trailing along the muddy ground as if the procession had been marching for centuries, while the folds of the fabric shift unnaturally as they move, as though the air itself recoils from their touch. Suddenly, guttural chants rise up from the ground. Yes, hit that like button, friends. I think it helps. I think it might. I think it just might. She's 5'6" at 11. Wait, who are you talking about? Is that your daughter? 5'6" at 11 years old. That's crazy. I'm trying to remember how tall I was at 11. I feel like I was like 5. How tall was I? I don't even know. I kind of miss that when you were young. When you're young, you're always kind of like going through that process of like growing. You're like, what will I be next year? Taller? More ripped? Who knows? You think you've been 5 foot since grade 8? Yeah, sometimes you just get kind of stuck. And you just need some raw milk from the Amish to help take it to the next step. And some growth hormone. Suddenly, a low guttural chant rises from the group. It reverberates through the air, an unsettling sound that seems to resonate deep in the chest. The words are foreign and haunting, their cadence rhythmic but unintelligible. Carried by the wind, the chant grows louder with each step as the figures march steadily across the desolate landscape. There is no sign of where the group is headed, no indication of their purpose, only their slow, hypnotic march and the alien tongue in which they chant. The air grows heavier, the chanting more intense, and as they pass, their song seems to dominate the vast and terrible emptiness. Diaz and the cameraman remain frozen in stunned silence, mired in the concept that everything they know, everything they've ever been told, is a lie. As the figures continue their haunting procession, the ground beneath Diaz and the cameraman begin to tremble, a low vibration that deepens with each passing second. The mist, thick and oppressive, shifts violently as something massive stirs within it, its presence felt before it is seen. The trembling intensifies into a deafening roar of impact before suddenly, like a shadow emerging from the fog, something impossibly gigantic looms over them. It moves with terrifying purpose, the earth shaking as each footfall rumbles like thunder across the stillness of the wasteland. Diaz's breath catches in his chest, his eyes wide with fear, but he cannot look away. The being moves slowly and purposefully as the rear of the procession... Oh, shit. Shoot. Scotland summer. Man, I really do need to get over to the UK at some point. Oh, man. You're 6'1", your brother is 6'3", and our parents are like 5'8" and 5'6"-ish. But we both look almost identical to our dad. People ask if we're twins all the time. We are not. Interesting. Figured you would be, Wonder where you got your height from. Am I watching the inauguration? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care about the personalities of the presidents as much as I care about just making shit happen. But unfortunately, making shit happen within the executive branch usually just involves fucking inflating the economy and pissing people off, I guess. So as long as we send our next 100 billion to Israel, we should be good. And don't forget Ukraine. And don't forget the space race. And don't forget Mars. And don't forget... Who are we forgetting? That's all I care about. The socio-political BS has to go. Yeah, definitely the... Like, I don't know. Like people circle jerking about, like complaining about personality stuff, even though I think maybe I do that too. But it's much more enjoyable to like just get to the nitty gritty of it. To like look at like objective data rather than personality. Because at the end of the day, what is literally the only thing that matters to you as citizens most of the time? It's whether or not your money has more buying power, and whether or not you're not afraid that you're about to die in like a nuclear war. Hey Skull, good to see you. Rich people shouldn't run the government. Yeah, that's interesting. And even if you're not rich when you start, you can be rich by the end, as long as you sell out. Whatever. What's left to say, honestly? You know what's actually much more enjoyable? Like, there's so many videos on YouTube that sort of like capitalize on, you know, your energy, your negative energy. Like, I just, you know, oh, this drama drove me nuts. Or like, these 5 things is what's killing you or something like that. But then you kind of like finally stumble across that one video that's just like the hope core videos, you know what I mean? That encourage you as an individual to move forward, to take hold of what you can take hold of and accomplish what you can accomplish. And I don't know, those types of videos to me are just like so much more inspiring. Like this one the other day I saw where it was like stop consuming. And you know, it kind of has a bit of a clickbaity title, but then you click it and it just basically is encouraging people like from now on you've consumed enough content. It's time for you to start making content. And I really do think like no matter what it is, if you create something in your life, whether it's art or something useful for other people, you will find much deeper satisfaction in your work than you would in any other sort of like 9-to-5 job-a-rooney. But Skull, thank you for the 17 kroners, says I can only sleep listening to his stories. Thank you, Skull. Hope you can get some sleepies. Are you surprised that TikTok came back so fast? I guess not. I mean, if they've arrived at like I think it was just they shut down the servers for a bit, right? But if they have some sort of inclination that somebody might buy it, whether it's Meta or whatever, transfer to an American company, then yeah, I mean, I don't think they hold any sort of grudge towards America, external from just making money. And then beyond that, they want to like continue to like collect all of your data and have like every possible way to get into that as much as possible. So I do kind of find it, well, I guess if it's in charge of in a weird way too, I guess if it goes to the private sector, then they can kind of dig through it the same way Elon Musk dug through Twitter, and it will honestly show to like what extent our information has been compromised. But they probably wouldn't tell you about it either, right? Since they do the same shit just through their own social media services or through like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Five Eyes, but like the Five Eyes is basically just an intelligence cooperation between like Western countries to just like, you know, share data with each other from users because they can't do it maybe directly through their own laws, so they do it through foreign entities that they cooperate with. And it's whatever. They will find it one way or another. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing to not put it in a fruit salad. True. I'm glad I'm an artist and was teaching adult hoop dance and dumpster dove as a hobby. It's rewarding to create and give what you can share. Yeah, but even better, you should be filming that, putting it on TikTok. Dumpster diving. What did we find today? Are the stories real? They are. Today's story is bonus content, though, so it's fictional. It's creepypastas, this one that we're reading today. The being moves slowly and purposefully at the rear of the procession, yet none of the hooded figures acknowledge its existence. They simply continue their chant, their march unfaltering. The air grows thick with terror as the being passes, the rhythmic chanting of the black... My voice cracked. What's up, Tiny? How you doing? As the group... Oh. The air grows thick with terror as the being passes, the rhythmic chanting of the black-robed figures being the only sound that remains. As the group disappears into the mist from whence it came, Diaz stands dumbstruck for a few more moments and then removes his sidearm from his holster. He raises it flat in his grip, eyes it intently for a few passing seconds, then lowers it again and begins trudging off through the mud. "Where are you going?" the cameraman asks. Diaz turns, a despondent look in his eyes. "I don't know," he replies, and then turns to continue his journey into the unknown. The picture fades to black. The flashing cops logo reappears, only this time it is accompanied by nothing but silence. As the video cassette nears its end, the VCR hums to life, its internal gears clicking and whirring. The tape is slowly freed from its grasp, sliding free with an almost delicate sound. The cassette slips out, pausing for a moment before one final, soft click signals its complete ejection. The faceless man rises, then approaches the VCR. Sorry. I was shot in my stomach and I burped. Hitsubasa. Yeah, jeez. Sorry, I can't say it. With the 2 thank you. Says TikTok may burn, but at least we have Joel. This is true. I should be the replacement for TikTok. I'm glad you're thinking I'm funny. Like you said earlier, my greatest joy is making creators laugh. Appreciate ya. Well, see, that's even more of a reason, John. As real recognizes real, right? So therefore, you should take your creative juices and dump them into a big, juicy creative shake and make a YouTube channel or something this year in 2025. The faceless man rises, then approaches the VHS. The faceless man rises, then approaches the VCR. His hand reaches for the cassette, removing with a precision that suggests countless repetitions. He then lowers it into a waiting box, which snaps shut with a cold plastic finality. The faceless man then glides back into the library of lost tapes, the rows stretching endlessly, each cassette a reliquary of forbidden... I gotta make sure I say that word right. Joel juice all around. Everybody get a cup. A shot glass. Reliquary. Reliquary? Yes, okay. What is a reliquary? Do you guys know? Can you type the definition in there? No looking it up, though. Listen to you while waiting for the doctors to see me in the passageway. Wait, passage? Like you're in a hallway? Like in the ER? Is the ER filled up or something? Am I on red note? God, do I have to? Is that what we gotta do? Do we gotta move to the next social media app every time there's a new one? And if we don't, we're gonna feel like we're missing out? Because that's part of the reason I didn't do TikTok, because it was so cringe. But then I realized I should have did TikTok because it was so cringe. And I could have got to the cringe app earlier before everybody else. And therefore gotten freaking popular. I've shaken it all up and done something with it. I'm creative, and I've used my juices to write, which is how I found you. Oh, okay, that's right. Oh, that's right, you were talking about your books and stuff, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm not on red note, I'm on brown note. Guys, go follow me on brown note. The faceless man then glides back into the library of lost tapes, the rows stretching endlessly, each cassette a reliquary. God damn it. God fucking damn it. The rows stretching endlessly, each cassette a reliquary of forbidden knowledge. When he finds the correct section, he slides the box back into place among countless others, all unlabeled, all silent. He steps back, his gaze sweeping over the rows of tapes, wondering which one will call to him next. But until then, the library of lost tapes awaits him, its endless rows brimming with forgotten horrors and untold secrets, lurking in the dark, waiting to be unearthed. I'm a superstar on brown note. I'm a verified creator. But brown note is just like hours and hours and hours of people just posting them shitting on a toilet. POV style, baby. Alright, guys. Well, Mao's little red note is meant to be a woman's lifestyle app for use in the Chinese intranet. Lifestyle app? What does that mean? But we made it. We made it to the end of the bonus content here. As always, I will get that up and edited over on Patreon, and then it will be over on YouTube, but it's on the Patreon $5 tier, since it's bonus content. But if you have been gifted a membership over on here on YouTube, be sure to check out the bonus content playlist. It is where you will find all that stuff, and you can binge watch it with the month of stuff. Oh, look at that. Greg, you got one. Dr. Ninja Greg, welcome. Deidre, Gray, Britt, and Sierra Maid, welcome, friends. You now have access to bonus content. Get in there. It's freaking Crimbus, heck yeah. But yeah, so tomorrow's video is going to be actually old bonus content made into a compilation. So who knows, maybe this stuff will eventually make it there. So get to it early while you can. But I guess it will eventually find its way onto the channel a year later or more. So yeah, be sure to check out that video when it comes out today, since it is 12 a.m. 1/20/2025. And otherwise, I will be back Wednesday night around 9 o'clock p.m. I'm going to start trying to stream at some time between 8:30 and 9 o'clock p.m. every Sunday and Wednesday night. And if if you want to know whether I'm live, hit that notification bell, but also follow me on Insta at letsread.official. Yeah, and I think TikTok will continue living on. I do believe someone with the funds will be able to buy it up or whatever. It's just too valuable, you know what I mean? Too much data to be collected there. But yes, hope you're sticking to your New Year's resolutions thus far. And guys, have a great night. Love you, appreciate you. Go follow my Twitch. It's pinned above. Need to get that to 1,000 bajillion schmillion followers, and then my life will be complete. Alright guys, peace out, much love, do creative things, treat other people well, but don't let people walk all over you. I know people always say be nice to other people. That's true. Be nice to other people. But be shrewd like a fucking honey badger. Be like a honey badger. Look very sweet. But if push comes to shove, be ready to push back. Goodbye.